On today's show, we're doing a hot end upgrade on the CR-10, so stick around. Hey, welcome to the show. On today's show, as I said before we ran that intro, we are doing an upgrade on the CR-10. And the upgrade that we're doing today is this little baby right here. This is the 300C Flexible Friendly Hotend kit for the CR-10. And let's get started. We got a lot to do today, and there's a ton of stuff that we want to do. But let's first and foremost get our tools ready. So I'm going to go get my tools. You guys go get your tools, and we'll talk about the tools that you need. All right, so we've got our tools. Here's what you're going to need to do the assembly and the teardown of the head on the CR-10. You're going to need a 6mm socket or 6mm wrench. You are going to need a 7mm socket or a 7mm wrench. You're also going to need a 1.5mm hex wrench or Allen key, and you're also going to need a 2mm or hex wrench or Allen key. I also have these just in case you never know. So let's talk about what we get into the package with the CR-10, or with the Micro Swiss, pardon me. What we get is a silicone sock, and I'll show a picture of all this on the screen. You've got some grub screws and an Allen key in there. You also have a new heater block that comes with this particular unit. You've got your cool zone, and then you have your 4mm stainless steel nozzle. So those are the parts that we're going to need to get going on the printer. So let's first and foremost start breaking it down and telling you guys what you need to do, okay? So the first thing that we have to do is first heat up the hot end. So we want to get that to temperature. We're just going to go into control. In this case, we're going to go to temperature. We're going to tell the nozzle that we want it heated up to about 235 degrees. We're going to let that come to temperature. And once that's at temperature, we're going to go ahead and remove the nozzle. So we're going to take our 6mm socket and we're going to stick it right on top there. And we're just going to loosen that up and get that off of there. Remove the nozzle. And there we have it. And now we're going to cool down the machine. We're going to prepare, cool down, and there we go. So now that the machine is cooled down, we're going to remove the fan housing and the PTFE tube. We're going to start with the PTFE tube first, push it down, and then start to, there we go, release it, and then just start to pull it up and out of the way. So now that's out of the way. Now we're going to turn off the machine, and we're going to unplug it. We are going to remove the hot end assembly from the X-axis carriage, and that is this piece right here. We are going to use a 2mm hex wrench or driver. We're just going to take off these screws, put them aside so we know where they are. What we want to do now that we've got the heater or the fan assembly removed, we're going to remove the heater block from the X-axis. And again, we're going to use that 2mm wrench. So we're going to take out this screw. We're going to take out this screw. Now we're going to unscrew the cooling block from the heater block. But first we have to get in underneath because there's a couple of screws in here. I don't know how well you guys can see that, but there's a couple of screws in there that we're going to have to take off. So we have to take off the paper wrapping for now. Okay, so now we have to take out these two screws so we can release the heater block from the cooling block. So we're just going to take that right out, and we are going to unscrew these areas as well. We're going to unscrew these areas right here. There's a block, and then we're also going to unscrew that because we're going to use a whole new block on this one. Pull out that grub screw, and then we're also going to pull out that one, which of course is not the same as the rest of them. So now we're going to remove this screw right here. And now we can remove this whole assembly. All right, so we've got the old block out now, and we are now going to replace it with the new block, which we have here in this bag. And we're going to put the thermistor and heating block right in there. We're going to get the screw that came with it. There we go. And you want to try not to cross thread this screw. All right, so we got that one in. We're going to tighten up these little guys on the bottom for our thermistor, or for our heater cartridge, pardon me. That's nice and tight now. So we tightened up those two screws on the bottom of this heater block. We've tightened our thermistor in. It's looking good. We've got our heater coil in there as well. And this is our thermal brake. So we're going to install that into the block, just like so. And now that is installed. Next, we're going to install the nozzle. And we have a nice 4.4 millimeter nozzle here, which we're going to install into the bottom. Right until it bottoms out. Okay. Now we're going to install the new heating block, which is this one, onto the X carriage. So now we've installed the new heating block. Now we're going to install the heater assembly back into the machine. And you just want to push it up in there till it seats. And then you're going to take that little grub screw that came with your setup, and you are going to put that in. That now is seated in there, just like it should be. We can go ahead and install a cooling fan assembly again. Now we have the assembly back together. We're going to install our PTFE tube. There we go. Now we're going to plug the machine back in and get her ready to go. Okay, so now we're going to plug the machine back in. we're going to turn it on and we're going to heat up the head again. I'm going to prepare that. Actually, let's just go to control. And we're going to go down to temperature, down to the nozzle, and we're just going to crank that up to 235. And once that reaches temperature, we'll go ahead and tighten up that screw. All right, so now we're just going to put our 7mm socket on there and just give that a little turn. And we should be good. And now we're all done. Cool down your machine. And that's it. Get ready to start printing. Okay, so now we've got everything installed. We're going to clean up our mess a little bit. We're going to save those parts that we had. We're going to put on the little silicone sock. That goes on top. There we go. It's all installed. And now we're going to save these parts that we have left over for another day. So we're going to put all those parts together, save them, and you never know, we may have to reuse them at some point in time. So I'm just going to fill these bags with the things that we need, and then we can move on. Boy, that's in there pretty good. That's not coming out. You know, it's no wonder I was getting blockages on this. As this, the PTFE tube goes all the way down. I like this design a little bit better. So I'm going to take that, put that in that bag there. And we're going to hold on to these parts like I said. And that's all there is to it, folks, for setting up the 300 Celsius flexible friendly hot end kit from Micro Swiss for the CR-10 machine. And that's it. So now we'll call it a day, and we'll see you guys in our next episode, which is coming up on Friday, which is our live stream. Hey, listen, if you haven't checked us out on the web or you haven't subscribed to us, make sure that you go ahead and subscribe. And hit that bell notification so that you get notified every time we put up a new episode or we do a live stream. Now, the folks I want to thank for this is spool3d.ca. Spool3D, print it right, print it with spool3d.ca, because they've got everything that you need for printing, from printers to parts to filaments, everything that you need to 3D print, they can help you out with. And the kit today came from Spool3D. It didn't come to us from Micro Swiss. So we're going to put this guy back out on the showroom floor, and we're going to see how it works. All right, you guys, have a great time. We're going to see you next time here on The First Layer. And don't forget, Coffee with Rich every Monday and Friday at 1:30 Mountain Standard Time. Till then, have a good one.